I'm on mute. Microphone check 1 2. You are now tuned into the network,
Bruh.
the YouTube channel that takes complex networking topics and dumbs it down to a more simple language. This is the lab we're going to be working with today, EIGRP, another EIGRP lab. We're going to be working with EIGRP and IPv6, though. Don't fret, don't be alarmed, and don't get intimidated by this lab here. I know you see about, how many is this? Like 15 routers or something like that? We only going to be working with just these guys in the middle. Router 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And here is the topology just to kind of give you an idea. I'll zoom out real quick. You see all this right here? These guys are the ones we're going to be working with. I haven't done this lab, so I'm going to do it live, and then you guys can help me or if I make any mistakes or anything like that. And I will teach you what I know, so it makes it for a better learning environment. I learn from you guys learn from me, etc., etc., etc. I'm gonna give it a couple more minutes for some people to tune in. I'm gonna actually jump in the Discord server and let people know I'm tuned, that I'm streaming. If you are just tuned in for the first time, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you join the Discord server. There's a link at the top of the chat. We got Dave W in the building. Appreciate you for tuning in. There's a link at the top of the chat. That is the invite to the Discord server. And let me click the share button for this video real quick so that way everybody know. Camera is frozen. Are you serious, man? Oh, Jesus. Let me see what I could do about that. Huh. What can I do about that? Let me see. I might have to restart this application because, damn, I'm glad you said something. Let me see. Remove sources? No, I don't want to do that. Let me pull it up and see if I could deactivate and then activate. Maybe that works. Microphone check. I think that might work right there. I'm glad that it looked like it might have worked. Let me know if you can see me moving now, because I was able to get without relaunching Streamlabs. I was able to see myself to get it to move. Let me know if you could if y'all can see me there.
Boom.
Audio is good. Good. Appreciate that. Appreciate the help over there. Dave. What was I gonna do? Oh yeah, let people know. I'm. Let me look for this video on YouTube real quick so I can share it with the people in the Discord server. I'll let them know that we are streaming. Like I said, some people may or may not be tuned in, or even know that I'm streaming. So that's my way of letting people know. They go to copy button, close this. That's all I needed. I'm streaming live currently doing EIGRP for IPv6. Y'all know what IPv6 is, right? It's the future. Has a larger address space because y'all know back in the day they said that IPv4 has about, I want to say, is it 4 million IP addresses? I don't remember if it's 4 million or 4 billion or whatever. Anyways, when they came up with it, the IP addressing scheme for IPv4, they was like, oh yeah, 4.1 million IP addresses or something like that. We ain't never gonna run out, man. That's was like when they first came out with the internet address space, like I don't know, 1993 or something like that. They didn't know how fast the internet was gonna grow, and we ran out of IP addresses real quick, man. I ain't gonna say real quick, but it took a couple years, and then they realized, damn, we running out, man, because everything's getting onto the internet, right? Not just computers and laptops, but fans, windows, refrigerators, the Internet of Things that started joining the internet, and everything requires an IP address. So we run out of IP addresses real quick. Then they came out with IPv6. I forgot what happened with IPv5. I think they just never came out with it, or I don't remember what happened with that. If anybody knows in the chat, let me know what happened with IPv5. But they came out with IPv6 because of a larger address space. I think there's no, what is it? There is none of. I don't think there's. Is there? Yeah, there's DHCP for sure. There's other benefits to IPv6. I can't think of them right now, but y'all know all week we've been working with EIGRP, which is a routing protocol, and now we're going to be doing EIGRP for IPv6. That's a lot of acronyms over there, right?
Bruh.
Camera, audio, and video is good. All right, cool. Appreciate that, Dave, man. You really helping me out over here, man. Shout out to you. F5 fixes 2 remote code execution flaws in Big IP and Big IQ. I don't know if y'all know F5 is a company. They're known for making like load balancers, and I believe what else are they known for making? Firewalls, maybe? I don't know, but I know they're really known for making load balancers. I work with a lot of those at work. F5 has released hot fixes for its Big IP and Big IQ products, addressing 2 high severity flaws, allowing attackers to perform unauthenticated remote code execution, or RCE, on vulnerable endpoints. That sucks. FBI, open up! I ain't got no sound effect for that. But while these flaws require specific criteria to exist, making them very difficult to exploit, F5 warns that it could lead to a complete compromise of the devices. The first flaw is tracked as CVE, blah, 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 blah. For anybody, if the CVE nerd, I'll put it in the chat for y'all. I know if Professor Black Ops, if he's in there, you know, he likes those CVEs and all of that. Yes, no private IP addresses of IPv6. Yeah, there you go. That's one of the pros to that, right? And is an unauthenticated RCE via cross-site forgery on iControl SOAP. I forgot what SOAP stands for. I can't even remember. Impacting multiple Big IP and Big IQ versions. An attacker may trick users who have at least who have at least resource administrator role privilege and are authenticated through basic authentication in iControl SOAP in performing critical actions, describes F5 advisory. If exploited, the vulnerability can compromise the complete system. The second flaw is CVE2. I'll give you the number if you guys, if anybody is really a CVE nerd or really into the, these when they release these exploits and stuff like that, they put them in what's called CVEs, right? They're called, what's that? Common vulnerabilities and exploits, I believe it is. So anytime a computer or any kind of system or application gets hacked, then they put this advisory out saying, "Hey, look, this is a hack. Here's the workaround for it if they got one, or here's the new version," and they talk about it really. And each one of those advisories have what's called the CVE number, and that's the ones that I'm putting in the chat right there. That second one is missing 2 zeros at the end of it, so let me put a correction on that, right? If anybody really wants to look those up. An authenticated RCE via RPM, spec injection, impacting iControl REST component. The vulnerable Big IP versions are this version 13, 14, 15, 13 through 17, basically. And for Big IQ, the impacted versions are 7.1 and 8.2, or 7.1 and 8.0. Impacted customers are recommended to request the engineering hotfix for their product version from F5 and install it manually. To resolve CVE, the second one, I believe it is, admins should also disable basic authentication for iControl SOAP after installing the hotfix. You've seen a hotfix. And then they release the technical details about these vulnerabilities, blah, 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 blah. You got Professor Black Ops. He said a lot of big companies use F5. Yeah, they really do. I work for an MSP, and we work with a lot of those F5s. But yeah, apparently they had several vulnerabilities that were released or that were discovered, and then they came out with some hot fixes for them recently. So and I know Professor Black Ops is gonna look up those CVEs that I put in the chat over there because he's really into that shit. But anyways, what else we got going on? This was an interesting one that I saw. ISP. Well, I wanted to read that one, but the other one I really wanted to see was or talk about was let me see. What was it? There was another one in here that I was wanting to. Give me a second here. So, anyways, while I'm getting that up, we're gonna be working with IPv6, EIGRP for IPv6, and I'm gonna be using the online version of Boson Netsim, right? I like that one because I was able to use it. I actually went into the office today and I actually was able to use it at work and stuff like that. So, it's pretty cool because I don't have to have it locally installed on my laptop, and I could just launch up a lab real quick and lab up a topic. And what else? I like the interface, man. As you can see right here, I'm using a web, like this is the application that we've been using not all week, but like last week. This is the online version. As you can see, this is a web browser I'm using this on, right? As you can see, I'm using Chrome. You can obviously you can put some feedback in here. They got the grade feature on there, and each of the consoles are, separated in tabs, just like this right here. Look at the topology. We got the lab document right here. What I also like about the lab document, this is my favorite part right here. Yeah, I know I like to look at the back of the book for the answers, right? If we don't understand something, well, they have it within the document. So, like, let's say right here, the first question is, or first task, I believe it is, EIGRP requires the equivalent of an IPv4 address as a router ID to uniquely identify a router within an AS. You know what AS is, right? Autonomous system. What are the selection criteria a router uses to generate an IPv6 or EIGRP v6 router ID if one is not manually configured? We can click this little eyeball right here and it'll show us the solution instead of having to scroll down all the way to the bottom for the answers. And that's what I love about this, the online version of this. So we don't have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for the answers. Does anybody know the answer to that? I believe what it does is it picks the loopback with the highest IP address first. If one is not configured, then it goes to the physical up interface with the highest IP address. And if that's not available, then how does it pick one? Then it goes to look for a one that's actually first it picks if there's one that's manually configured, it picks that as its router ID. If one's not manually configured, then it picks the highest IP address with the the loopback with the highest IP address. Then it picks a physical interface with a highest IP address. And I think if there's not an IP address that's available, then I believe you either get all zeros or it just says it can't start the process because it needs an IP address to come up with a router ID. I don't know. What we should do is just turn on EIGRP and see what happens. But I think already the IP addresses are already configured, so we can't even experiment with that. But anyways, the other thing that I wanted to read to y'all, we're still waiting for a couple people to tune in, and then we'll get started with the lab. Where is it? It was, I believe, in Bleeping Computer. See if I can find it. Y'all give me a second here. It was a ransomware. They just released this article. Yeah, it was another ransomware extortion. Y'all know this shit been happening like every day, right? FBI said Hive ransomware extorted 100 million. Yes, I read that right. 100 million from over 1,300 victims. FBI, open up! The FBI said today that the notorious Hive ransomware gang has successfully extorted roughly 100 million over 1,000 companies since June 2021. Yeah, this article was released today. To add insult to injury, the FBI says that the Hive gang will deploy additional ransomware payloads on the networks of victims who refuse to pay the ransom. Even worse, right? So it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. You can pay the ransom. I mean, you can not pay the ransom. And then they release the they will deploy additional ransomware payloads on their networks, right? Or B, you could pay the ransom and they still do it. So it's like you're just like stuck between a rock and a hard place, man. As of November 2022, Hive ransomware actors have victimized over 1,300 companies worldwide, receiving approximately 100 million in US in ransom payments, according to FBI information the FBI revealed. FBI, open up! Yeah, I know that's my favorite sound effect. Hive actors have known to reinfect with either Hive ransomware or another ransomware variant the network of victim organizations who have restored their network without making ransom payment. The list of victims include organizations from a wide range of industries and critical infrastructure sectors, such as government facilities, communications, and information technologies, with a focus on healthcare and public health entities. Y'all know they're like hospitals are, I believe they probably the hardest hit when it comes to ransomware because they've got a lot of personal information. Not only can they exploit organizations, but they have also what's that, PHI, personal health information. So they have the organizations that they can exploit, and they also have like patients and people that come to the hospital and stuff like that, and can exploit those people as well. So because they have all of their information on their networks, right? Crazy, man. This was revealed in the joint advisory published today with the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency (CISA) and the Department of Health and Human Services. And then they go on and on and on, and they talked about, they got this little chart on how many Hive ransomware submissions that were released since about, what's that? That looked like since June of this, since this year. Um, and then there's a request for some incident reports, and they go on and on and on. But yeah, crazy, crazy, crazy. That was released by the FBI today. FBI, open up! That ransomware, boy. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the lab. Who we got in here? He said, I looked them CVEs up this morning. See, I told you, man. I know you. I know you too well, Professor Blackops. For anybody that's like really into cybersecurity, y'all tune into his channel. He's really into that stuff. Stick of the day: the Cisco perimeter switch must be configured. Must be configured. I believe must be configured to drop IPv6 packets with a routing header type 0, 1, or 3 through 255. Routing header can be used maliciously to send packets to a path with less security. See, now that's another little known fact. Let me read that because I want to make sure I understand this. The Cisco perimeter switch must be configured to drop IPv6 packets with a routing header type 0, 1, or 3 through 255. Routing header can be used to maliciously send packets to a path with less security. Yeah. So yeah, it's a way of I guess, yeah, it's a way to exploit a system if they don't have that much security on it. So anyways, let's get started with the lab. This is the policy we're working with. For anybody that just tuned in, make sure you hit that like button and the subscribe button. And don't fret, we're not going to be working with all these routers here. I know it looks kind of daunting here, but we're just going to be working with these guys right here in the middle, right? These 5 routers right here. The first thing they said they wanted us to do was bring up my little thing here. We're going to be configuring EIGRP for IPv6, right? In this task, you will configure EIGRP version 6 to share routing information between the routers of Site 1, which is, again, the guys in the middle right here, right? So this is apparently Site 1. That's their network address, 100:/56, which serves as the core of your company's new IPv6 structure. Routers 1 through 5 are considered members of Site 1 because they each have at least one interface that resides in Site 1, as indicated by the topology diagram. You will be required to create an EIGRP routing process for AS600, blah, 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 blah. So the first question I had asked was, what does the EIGRP v6 process, or not process, but yeah, pretty much the routing process do to find out what his router ID is, right? Remember, every time we put a system to participate in EIGRP, or router, or an interface, the router must select what's his router ID going to be. In other words, what he's going to, when he introduces, remember, they send hello packets every, 5 seconds or something like that by default. When he sends that hello packet, he also says, hey, my name is, right, router 1, or my name is router 6, whatever, right? How does he select what his router ID is? And I believe it picks the highest loopback address. And what I love about this application, the online version, is, let me show y'all real quick. We could just click, where is it? I just had the browser in here. And close this new tab. I guess I had to move it over, don't I? The lab document. Yeah, I guess I'll have to move it over so y'all can see. We can just click that eyeball right there, and it tells us the solution. That's what I love about this. So we ain't got to scroll back and forth. The router ID can be automatically generated if certain criteria are met. The router must have an IPv4 address assigned to an interface, right? IPv4 address assigned. If more than one IPv6 address is assigned, the loopback interface with the highest numerical IPv4 address is selected, just like I told you at the beginning. But I forgot it's IPv4 address. It picks an IPv4 address as its router ID. If no loopback is configured, it'll select, the router will select the highest numerical IPv6 from the remaining interfaces on the router. So the physical IP addresses, right? Or physical interfaces, right? So that's how it picks it. Before you configure EIGRP routing process on router 1, which feature should you ensure is enabled on router 1? Does anybody know? That's the first question. I'm not going to move on to one of y'all answer that, right? That's a real easy one, right? What is the first thing we have to do? What do we need to turn on before we configure an EIGRP version 6 routing process? I mean, there's other things we can do, but by default, what's the first thing we need to do if we're going to be working with that? I guess I'll give you all the... I believe you got to turn on, you got to actually turn on IPv6. I see nobody didn't answer it. And let's see, we hit the solution. It says right there, yes, you should ensure that IPv6 unicast routing is enabled on a Cisco router before you attempt to create IPv6 routing process. So basically, IPv6 is not turned on by default on a router. You have to turn it on, right? Unlike the routing process now, the routing process, you need to turn it on. So you know how with IPv4, we have to do, to turn it on, you just do IP routing. That turns on the routing on a router. That's on by default for IPv4. But for IPv6, you got to turn that on. How do we do that? IPv6 unicast routing. They said let's go ahead and do that on router 1. Do they tell us to do that? I believe so. They didn't tell us, but they told us that's what we would have to do. So we'll do that anyway. Press enter. Where is my, what is going on here with router 1? I don't see his console what's going on here? Do I need to relaunch this? Let me close this and relaunch it. I don't know what happened there. Interesting. Topology. Oh, probably this. It says my session is expired. Maybe I got to reload the lab. That's probably what it is. Interesting. But we didn't get started anyway, so let's see. Let me turn off CyberGhost. First of all, close that. Close CyberGhost. He got a message there. Continue. Reload. I think we relaunched it. We'll see. Because I don't see. Come on now. Let's do this. I'm going to do it this way. I think that's the lab right there. And then, not the designer. You know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to relaunch the lab because I didn't see what happened with it. It is this guy right here. Yeah, part 1. We're going to relaunch it. Resume. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. That's what he gets right here.
Come on now, dog.
I think we...
Come on, man.
Let's see. Where's the topology? Is it launched? Is it launched? There you go. Had to double click that. I guess I know for sure that it's running once I'm using the local version of the application, but the online one, it looks like it times out. As y'all can see, here's the topology. Here's router 1. And I'm going to bring up that lab document. I want that to float there. There go to lab document. Okay. Go back to router 1. There you go. Now you can see them. Go to enable mode, go to fib mode. We said IPv6 unicast routing. That turns on IPv6, and that's what we was trying to do there. Had y'all waiting there. My fault. My fault with that.
5 minutes later.
And let me close that F5 article. I got too many damn windows here. Next thing they wanted us to do was we turn on IPv6 routing. On router 1, create an EIGRP version 6 routing process that uses AS number 600 and ensure the routing process is enabled. So how do we do that? I believe it's just IPv6. Remember on IPv4, we just do router EIGRP, right? And then we do the AS number. In this case, it's for IPv6. It's IPv6 and then router EIGRP, and then the AX number, which I believe is 600. Press enter. That makes it turned on. On router 1, display information about the running IPv6 protocols. Did router 1 automatically generate a router ID for the routing process? If so, what did it use as its router ID? Let's see. How do we do that? Show SIP IP, right? Show IPv6 protocols. That lets us know what we're running here. What are we running? I want to be able to. Can y'all see the text here? I hope y'all can see this because this. Remember, this is the online version, so this looks the text looks a little bit thinner to me. We do that. We turned on IPv6, and that's the routing process. What do they want us to know? The router ID. What's the router ID? There it is right there, 10.10.10.2. How did it do that? Remember, we said we was going to find the highest loopback IP address. If one is not configured, then we go to the physical IP addresses. We didn't even see what they were. Let's see what they are. Show IP interface brief. And he picked it because that's the only one that's configured. We had no loopbacks, so he picked the one with the highest the highest IP address on a physical interface, and that's how he picked it. On router 1, identify all interfaces that connect to routers within Site 1, then enable EIGRP on those interfaces. Okay, so on router 1, let's look at that map real quick. Yeah, sure, why not? Here go the map. There's router 1 right there. I'll zoom in for y'all. Here's router 1. We have this interface and that interface. Don't worry about this one right here, right? Why? Because that is not Site 1. So we're not worried about that interface. We got some sort of tunnel right there. Maybe that's in the next lab. We're going to work with that. So we have two interfaces that we need to work with. It looks like it's probably this one and that one, the ones that's unassigned, right? I had one for y'all.
Duh.
How do we turn on or make sure it's configured in EIGRP version 6? We just believe we can go to that interface and do that, right? Configure terminal interface FA0/0. We say IPv6. Is that how you do it? We don't do IPv6 address. Yeah, EIGRP 600, and I believe that's how you do it. I believe that is how you do it. Press enter, and that puts it in that process. What else did they say? Let me see. Give me a second here. Identify all interfaces that connect and enable EIGRP version 6 on those interfaces. Yeah, so there's that interface. The other one we got to do is what? FA020. So we'll go to exit interface FA2/0, and we say IPv6 EIGRP 600. And then let me just look at the solution to just triple check that I'm doing that right. Let's see. Believe so. Router 1 FA00 and 10. Huh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. You know what? I didn't do that right. I don't think I did that right. Let's see.
Are you fucking stupid?
And that's what I love about the solutions. We could see real quick where we so we needed, okay, this is what they wanted us to do. See the neighboring interfaces. See the neighboring routers. So the neighboring router was router 5 and router 2. I just went on there and just looked at it. I shouldn't have done it that way. I see what they did. They said look at the neighbors there. How do we do that? We could use a protocol like CDP, see who's the neighboring routers, and then put those interfaces in the EIGRP. So let's do that real quick. Show CDP neighbor, and those interfaces are FA00 and 10. What I ended up doing was putting it on, what did I do? I did 20 and 00. So this was right. And this, I shouldn't have done it on there. I should have done it on 10. So, which is weird. I don't see how come. Oh, yeah. So these are the two interfaces I need to put it on. So I'm glad I double checked that. Y'all know I ain't no shame in my game. I will look at the back of the book for the answers, right? So let's go back on 20. remove that. Where did I do? What did I need to remove? 20. Yes, I need to remove it from 20. So no IPv6 EIGRP 600. Why he ain't remove it? Oh, because you got to go in there.
Bruh.
FA2/0. No IPv6 EIGRP 200. And then go back to the other interface, which was what? 10 interface FA1/0 IPv6 EIGRP 600. And that's the two interfaces we needed to put them on. And then we verify that with show IPv6 EIGRP what interfaces. And now we have two interfaces that we needed that we put in AS600. That's what we needed to do. I like this. I like the way they got the answers right then and there, so I ain't got to scroll back and forth. Y'all got any questions or anything so far? Dave W said global config mode. Yep, I needed to do that. Oh, yeah, go in global config mode and then you turn on IPv6 if that's what you were answering there. Professor Black Ops said, I put the full stigs in the Discord general. I only get 200 characters on YouTube. Okay, perfect, man. So information about Stig. Oh, so there's actual stigviewer.com. I didn't know that. Shout out to Professor Blackhouse for that one. I never knew that. An actual stigviewer.com. So yeah, appreciate that, man. Shout out to you for that one. Does IPv6 have a default loopback IP address like IPv4? Yes, it does actually. Wait, a default loopback address? Default loopback address. What do you mean by that? Do you mean like a default route? Does IPv6 have a default loopback address like IPv4? What is the default loopback address? What are you talking about for IPv4? What is it for IPv4? Unless you're talking about a default route, like default route for IPv4 is what zero IPv or IP route 0.0.0.0. There is a IPv6 equivalent one to that, yes, and I believe it's like 0:::, something like that. I can't remember. I'd have to look it up. Next question. What was next question? Next question. Real quick. Display information about the EIGRP interfaces, which we just did. Verify all interfaces on router 1 that connect to the routers have been configured to participate in the AS100. We did that with the show IPv6 EIGRP interfaces. Let me triple check that's what they did. This freaking window, man. Yes, that's exactly what they did. And on router 2, ensure IPv6 unicast routing is enabled. Create a routing process that uses 600, and then enable the interfaces that connect to those routers. I mean, to those interfaces. So we got to do the same thing on router 2. We have to turn on IPv6 on this guy. Put this interface in EIGRP version 6. That in the EIGRP version 6. And what else they want us to do? See what his router ID is. So let's go ahead and do that. Same thing that we did on the other routers. Where's router 2 at? Router 2. We go to the topology. Bloop. Router 2. He's over up here. Enable global config mode. IPv6 unicast routing that turns on IPv6, right? Then we say IPv6 router EIGRP, excuse me, 600. That turns it on. We can get out of this, and then we go to the interfaces, but they just did like this: show CDP neighbors and see whose neighbors are router 1 and router 3, right? Router 1 and router 3 is his neighbors. So we need to turn on EIGRP on FA00 and FA10. Go to global config mode and do that. Interface FA. We can just do a range, right? Interface range. Oh no, I guess we can't. They don't have the range command on here. Interesting. FA0/0, right? 00 and 01. Is that what it was? Yep. And we say IPv6 EIGRP 600 interface FA0/1 IPv6 EIGRP 600, right? Let me make sure is 600. That's correct. On router 2, display the protocols. How we do that is just show IPv6 protocols. What do we choose as our router ID? No usable router ID found. That's interesting. That's what happens when we don't. And remember, I said at the beginning of the stream, what happens if we turn on EIGRP, but it doesn't have any IP addresses configured? And that's probably what they wanted us to see there. Let's do a show IP interface brief. You see, there was no IP addresses there. So there was not one assigned. After that, on number 9, they said for us to manually configure a router ID on router 1. Oh, router 1. Interesting. Oh, so they want us to change the router 1's router ID and also manually configure one on router 2. Since we're already on router 2, let's start off with him. We say global config mode. I believe it's just we go to the routing process and do it. So I believe it's IPv6, EIGRP. Router, EIGRP 600, and then router ID. And they said router ID is going to be 1.0.0.2. Press enter. We do a show IPv6 protocols. And notice we got the little syslog message that let us know right there. Neighbor, change protocols, and we'll see now that's our router ID. We got to do the same thing on router 1. Global config mode, IPv6 router 600. I'm sorry, EIGRP 600. And change his router ID to what? 1.0.0.1. Y'all make sure y'all hit me with that like button. Press enter. To facilitate the identification of routers in Site 1 and to ensure that the EIGRP routing process on each router can automatically create a router ID, assign the appropriate IPv4 address to the loopback 0 on each router. Refer to the IPv4 addresses table. So the IPv4 addresses table is located here. And where's the loopbacks that they want us to do? Here go the loopbacks. That's what they wanted us to do. And make sure that those are the IP addresses there. I don't think we had a loopback on the other routers. So I guess we're gonna have to. We did the so router 1 and 2 already has router IDs, but they don't have these loopbacks. So that's probably what they want us to do. Let me see if you had clarified your question over there. No, you didn't. I wasn't sure what you meant by that, Dave. You said IPv4 doesn't have a default loopback address. I'm not sure what your question is there. Do you mean default route? Oh no. Let's go to router 3 real quick and give him this router, this IP address, 1003. 1003, right? Where is he at? He's router 3. Enable global config mode, interface loopback 0. His IP address is, what was it? 1003. 1.0.0.3 / 20, what was that? 2032. So .255.255. And then go to router 4. Give him 1.4. Enable global config mode. Interface loopback 0. His IP address is 1.0.0.4 / 32. And then let's do the same thing on router 1 and 2, just because I believe they said they wanted us to do that. Interface loopback 0. And his IP address is 1.0.0.1 / 32. And let's verify that his still stays the same as his router ID. Show IPv6 pero show IPv6 protocols. Yes, it stayed the same, so that's good to go. And I believe we did the same thing on router. What's the other router? I think we're good on the other router. All right.
Boom.
Next task was configure EIGRP version 6 on the remaining routers. And then so pretty much do the same thing on the other routers. All right, so let's I think router 1 and 2 is taken care of. Let's go to router 3. Let's see. Let's go to global config mode. We said IPv6 router EIGRP 600. We go to the interfaces and verify show show CDP neighbor. That's what they wanted us to do there. We need to make sure that it's on FA01 and 00, right? Show IP interface brief too. Let's just check. Yeah. So we got to put those two interfaces in the EIGRP. Go to global config mode, say interface FA0/0. That's interesting that the range command does not work in Boson Netsim. IPv6 EIGRP 600 interface FA0/1. Y'all with me so far? Anybody got any questions other than Dave? Because I'm still waiting for you to clarify that question, unless you already popped out the chat. Yes, we are good. Okay. IPv6 EIGRP 600. All right, and then let's just verify our work with show IPv6 protocols. He has that as his router ID. Those two interfaces participating in EIGRP. Did we even turn on EIGRP version? IPv6 on here. We might have. Let's see. So let's do this. IPv6 route. Okay. Yeah, so that means it is turned on. We could also verify it with what show run real quick, because we didn't do it on this router, I don't think. Include unicast routing. It is turned on this guy. So go to router 4, global config mode, IPv6 router. This is like wash, rinse, repeat now, right? 600. I'm sorry, EIGRP 600. Go to the two interfaces. There should be two interfaces, right? Now we're on router 4 and do the same thing, right? We're going to go on router 4 and put this in EIGRP, that in EIGRP. Now he looked like Mickey Mouse. And then do a show CDP neighbor just to see what interface that is. FA01 and 00. Who's pointing to router 3 and router 5? See that? I'll show y'all real quick for anybody that's lost. He's pointing to router 3 and router 5. That's why we got to put these two interfaces in EIGRP, that interface and that interface, right? Interface FA. I wish the range command would work on here, but it don't. Go to global config mode. Interface. Oh, did we even turn on router? Yeah, we did. FA01 interface FA0/1 IPv6 router. I'm sorry, EIGRP 600, and then 00 interface FA0/0 IPv6 EIGRP 600. Wash, rinse, repeat. Verify our work. Show IPv6 interface. No, EIGRP. Sorry, EIGRP interfaces. We don't have one on FA00 for some reason. What happened there? Maybe because I backed out. Let's see. Show run interface FA0/0. We did not put it on there. Interesting. Maybe because I pushed Control Z when I did that. Let's do that again. This is why we got to verify our work. 0/0, 0/P0.
Are you fucking stupid?
IPv6. No, it was just a typo. My bad. EIGRP 600. Press enter this time. And now do that again. Interfaces. And look, we have a message right there that we got a EIGRP neighbor.
Another one.
Press enter. And there it is there. And we could also verify our work with show IPv6 EIGRP interfaces, and that lets us know we have two interfaces participating in EIGRP, FA00 and 01, what we just planned right here and here. Next question, he said, local network loopback address. Oh, I see what you're saying. The loopback address is, now I see what you're saying. Or : 1, which I believe is what I said earlier. No, I said 0 : something like that. I'm not going to pretend I knew what that was, but I see what you're saying. The default loopback address. Now I see what you're saying. Okay. It is all zeros and then 1. Interesting. Okay. Good to know. From the internet. Okay, cool. Shout out to Dave for that one, man. Now I understand your question, though. On router 5, display information about the running IPv6 protocols. Did router 5 automatically generate a router ID for the routing process? If so, what did it use as router ID? Router 5 is located right here. And they want us to see what his router ID is. Go to topology, router 5. Oh, we didn't even turn on EIGRP on that router. Let's go ahead and do that.
Are you fucking stupid?
Go to global config mode, IPv6. We did all of that wash, rinse, repeat, but forgot about this one. It's like, man, did you wash your booty, man? You washed your whole body, but didn't wash your butt crack. 600. My bad. EIGRP 600. Get out of this. What interfaces do we need to do it on? Let's do a show. CDP neighbor 00 and 01. Interface FA 0/0. IPv6. EIGRP 600. Interface FA 0/1. IPv6. Oops, v6. EIGRP 600. Enter. Get out of this. Get out of this. They wanted us to see what did he use as his router ID. Show IPv6 protocols, and we'll see he does not have a router ID. What else they want to say here? If so, what did he use as his router ID? He did not generate one. So let's do a show IP interface brief and see what he's got. He's got no configured IP addresses. That's why. So they'll probably want us to manually configure one. Let's see. Oh, they did not even. They did tell us to do that, but I guess I didn't do that. Let me see. Did they tell us to do that? Identify. Let's see. Let's see. I might have skipped it doing all that damn talking. Hold on, chill. To ensure, to facilitate, create a router ID. Yeah, I should have done it on there as well. So here's what we're gonna do. He was supposed to be 1005. I'll show y'all real quick. We look at the lab document. That's what we was missing right there. So that's why we got to make sure we put a loopback address and give him that IP address. So go to router 5, go to global config mode, interface loopback 0. IP address is what he said 1.0.0.0.5. Subnet mask /32. Press enter, and then do a show IP v6 protocols, and we'll see he still don't have a router ID. Interesting. Why not? That is rather interesting. That is rather interesting. Does anybody know why? We gave him that router ID. Let's take a look real quick. Show IPv6 or show IP interface brief. He has that. It is up. Why did he not pick that IP address? He still doesn't have a route. Let's see. Show IPv is IPv6 turned on? Let's see. Show run. That would be on the top. It is turned on, so that's good. We have the routing process turned on. We've got some interfaces that are in EIGRP, participating in EIGRP. They are both up. Where's the loopback address? There it is right there. That is rather interesting. Let's see. He said display information about the running protocols. Did he automatically generate an IP or router ID for the routing process? If so, what did it use as a router ID? He didn't. So let's see what the answers say. Let's see what they say. They said it would have used 1005, and I did do that. So let's see. Maybe we got to run it again. Maybe it takes a while for it to come up. Nope. That's rather interesting. That is rather interesting.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Does anybody care to elaborate, or if anybody knows what happened there, or does anybody know what happened, why he did not pick a router ID on this one? I mean, we turned on, we were sure that IPv6 is turned on. We have the EIG process running here. We have 2 interfaces in that process, but we don't have a router ID. He says no usable router ID found. Why not? Let's see. Did we do 600? We did 600. 600. That loopback address is not being used as the router ID. That is rather interesting. IPv6 is turned on. Show IPv6. We did the protocols already. EIGRP neighbors. No router ID found for him. Check router 4 for EIGRP to router 5. That's a good one. That's a good one. Let's see. Let's see. Router 4. We need to make sure that it looks like we need to make sure that we have EIGRP running on this interface here. Actually, we got to make sure it's running on this interface and that interface. And then we have obviously the loopback address, who's virtual. I don't know how to draw a loopback address. And then make sure that's up. We did that already. We made sure, let's see, show CDP neighbors. Oops, show CDP neighbors. Router 4. Ah, that's a good one. How'd you know that one, Dave? Are you running this lab with us? I hope you guys are at home are doing this with me and not just watching me fuck up the damn lab. Yeah.
Hold up.
Let's
Wait
go to
a
router
minute.
4.
Something ain't right.
Show IPv6 EIGRP interfaces. Yes, he's running it on 2 interfaces on router 4. That's 00 and 01. Show CDP neighbors. His neighbor was router 5 at FA01. FA01 is participating in EIGRP. What else we wanted to know here? Let's do show EIGRP or IPv6 EIGRP neighbors. And he has only one neighbor. And it sits off of FA00, which is router 3. So he don't show this guy as a neighbor. That is rather interesting. So you're right. We do not have the routing EIGRP neighbor over here. What is going on here? Probably something with the IP addresses. The IP addressing. Let's see. Let's look at router 4. Show run interface FA0/0. That's in EIGRP 600. That's correct. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. It just came up. It looked like. What just happened there? We got a new adjacency. No, that's router 3. My bad.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
It tricked me. My bad. I clicked the router 3 and got excited right there. That's not what I meant to do. It's router 4 and 5 I need to be messing with. He don't have a router ID, but why not? We gave him the show IPv6 protocols. Let's see. He don't have a router ID, but we gave him a loopback address. Show IPv6 interface brief. That interface is up. Oh, you know what? Let's see. We got these interfaces that admin down. Those are all up, so those are good. I don't know. I can't call it. I do not recall. Let me see. We got Earl Owens in the building. Appreciate you for tuning in. Say peace, fam. Peace to you as well. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, man, and that subscribe button if this is the first time you're tuned into this channel. If you guys want to know when I'm a stream, just make sure you join the Discord server. There's a link at the top of the chat, and that I usually let people know when I'm a stream or whatever, or if I'm gonna cancel my stream or whatever. I haven't been doing that lately, but I need to. But yeah, just make sure you join the Discord server. That's where you get the inside scoop of my channel and stuff like that. I'm not even sure. Let's go ahead and move on, and then we'll get back to that. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna move on from that for now, and then we'll figure out what the hell's going on there. Cause yeah, it says right there he should have picked router ID as 1005, and it did not automatically generate it. So I don't know why. Let me see. Using the IPv6. It says right here. Yeah, it says on the answer, the sample output. You know what? I'm gonna shut it down and then bring it back up. Let's do that real quick. Interface loop 0. Shut. Right? No shut. Show IPv6 protocols. There you go. That worked it. Fixed it rather.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
That brought it up. See that? At first it wasn't. This is the problem we was having here. No usable IP address. I mean usable router ID found. All we did was bounce the loopback interface, and then finally he came up with one. So that was a fix we had to do on the fly there. In task 2, we only got 5 questions there, and then we'll be done for the night. In this task, you will examine the output of various show commands to verify the operation of EIGRP within Site 1. On Router 1, display the IPv6 routing table. Let's go to Router 1. Look at the routing table with show IPv6 route. What do they want to know here? How many networks has Router 1 learned from his neighbors? Well, we can do that by looking at the D's here, right over, where is it at? See the D, if you scroll over, you'll see the D stands for EIGRP. And then all the routes that start with D is what he learned from his neighbors. Or he learned from through the EIGRP routing process. That network, this network right here, and this network right here, and that's pretty much it. So pretty much, let me see. It looks like 3 networks. Yeah, 3 remote networks, right? This is from Router 1's vantage point. I'm gonna show y'all what he learned about using EIGRP. He learned about, this is Router 1, right? Yeah. So this is directly connected. He already knew about this network. Let me do this. Let me pick a different one. He already knew about this network and this network. Why? Because they were directly connected to him. But he did not know about this network, and this network. But now he does with EIGRP, because this guy told him about it. That guy told him about it. And that's how he learned about these 3 remote networks, right? That makes any sense? He used EIGRP. What is notable about the 2001 DB8 blah 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 network? I'll show y'all real quick which one they were referring to. The one that has BO55. Oh, that's all of them.
Bruh.
I have one for y'all. The 103 network. This one. They want to know what's notable about this network right here. Let's see. Let me take a look at it real quick. I don't see what's so notable about it. It looks very similar to these other 2. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. It's what I love about the Boson Netsim, especially since they put the solutions right in the document there. They said what's notable about it is the fact that there are 2 equal cost paths in the routing table. One path through the FA00 interface and one through the FA10 interface. So where are they at? I don't see where they're at. 103. Maybe I got to do show EIGRP topology to see that, because I don't see where the other equal cost path is. He's saying this network right here, there's something notable about it. It looks like the other 2 networks, so I don't see where does it show that he has 2 equal cost paths. Maybe I got to do show IP EIGRP topology to see that. Let's see. No, they say show IP route. Huh? We're missing something. That's what it is. We should have seen a second route over here. So we probably missing something here. I don't know. We could do a grade lab, and it'll tell us what we're missing. So I'm gonna skip that part too. Well, we didn't skip the other part. We was able to fix that issue by bouncing the loop back, right? Router 1, display a list of primary and backup routes that have been learned from EIGRP version 6 neighbors. You will see 2 numbers in parentheses, one that may look like the following. The first number is the feasible distance, which is the total metric or cost for this router to reach the destination network. The second number is the advertised distance, which is the advertised metric from the directly connected EIGRP neighbor from which this route was learned. We talked about this yesterday, right? Actually, pretty much not yesterday, the day before, all week. We do show IP. Show. Come on, man.
Come on now, dog.
Can't type today.
Come on, man.
EIGRP topology is what I meant to do. And then they said the first number is the feasible distance. The second number is the reported distance. In other words, the distance from the neighboring router to that network, whatever network it is, right? They wanted to know for us to use this output to answer the following questions. What is the advertised distance to the pretty much BO55102 network? Where is he at? BO55 right here. BO5. Where's the advertised? Remember, the first number is, it says it right there. FD is this, which is what? Same thing as this. So this is feasible distance. Second one is the reported distance or advertised distance. I believe those are interchangeable. So advertised distance is 28160. Remember, feasible, advertised. Oops. Damn, I just messed that up. Let me run that again. Enter. I guess you can copy, cut, and paste with this. Feasible, advertised. Feasible, advertised. Feasible, advertised. And remember that first one always says FD, which stands for feasible distance. That's the full distance from your router to that network. And then this one is, the second number is from your directly connected router, how far it is from him. I hope that makes sense to y'all. On router 3, now they said, what is the feasible distance to B055102? So B055102, feasible distance is that right there, 30720. And then let me check the answers to see if that's if I didn't steer you guys wrong. Router 3, no, it's right over here. Your neighbors. Hold on. That's not what I was looking for. Where's that answer? Oh, it's right here. Yes, 21860. And then the other one was 307. Yes, so I was correct in saying that. Again, feasible distance here, and then reported distance or advertised distance. Right? On router 3, display information about the neighbors. So let's go to router 3. He is located over here. This is question number 3. And then we're going to question number 5, and we go call it a night. Show IPv6, EIGRP, neighbors. How many neighbors does he have? We'll see. 1, 2. What address does the output display to identify each router? It shows the link local address. Right? That's pretty much kind of like, it's kind of like a, how we say, not loopback address, but like, it's almost like, how do I say? It's almost like the MAC address of an interface, if that makes any sense. I hope it does. But that's automatically, I believe that's automatically generated when you turn on IPv6. How does this differ from the way EIGRP for IPv4 identifies neighbors? Well, IPv4 identifies its neighbors using the router ID. That's what it does. Apparently, IPv6 uses the link local address. Right? Let me see. Let me look at the answers real quick and see if that's what they meant. Yes, this differs from IPv4, which uses the configured router ID to identify neighbors, just like I said. Question 4. Go to router 5. How many hello packets have been sent? We do that with what? Show IPv6, EIGRP, traffic. Had to think about that one. There's the hello packets. Remember what I said? There's 5 types of packets. Actually, there's like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7 types of packets. There's like 2 or 3 more, I believe, but these are the ones we need to really know about. I believe those are called these guys are called the terse IP addresses. I mean, terse EIGRP packets. We've sent 214. We didn't receive none. So we just been saying, hello, 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 and nobody talked to us back. Router 4, how many pending routes are displayed? This is the last question. We're going to call it a night. Y'all make sure y'all hit me with that like button and the subscribe button on your way out. Show IPv6, EIGRP. How do we see the pending routes? I believe it's neighbors. No, that's not the command I'm looking for. The command I'm actually looking for is, see, pending routes are, where's pending routes going to be in? Let's see. It's going to be in, I believe, not topology, not neighbors. Show IPv6, EIGRP interfaces, maybe? Oops. Let me see. Interfaces. Pending. There it is right there. That's what I was looking for. Pending routes, 0. That's how you do it. Show IPv6, EIGRP interfaces. That tells you the pending routes. Once you've completed this lab, you can check your work by using the grading feature. Go to lab and then grade, or in this case, just click the grade button to see what we're missing there. What are we missing? Commands on router 1 and router 2.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
No, hell no. What are we missing? What are they saying we missing? Here's the expected config and here's our running. We are going to find out that we are missing on FA02. We did not turn it on. FA20 rather. Thought we turned it on. That's interesting. We didn't turn it on that interface. Same thing on router 2. We didn't even configure a loopback on router 2. That's interesting. Rather interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and do that then. Resume lab. Go back to router 2. Yeah, he has a router ID. So what the hell are they talking about? Let's see. Let me see. Hold on. Show run interface loop at 0. Oops. 0. Show run. You telling me I didn't put a loopback on this interface? I mean on this router? Okay. Oh, I did the router ID, but I didn't give him the loopback address. Okay, that's what happened there. All right, well, we can play that game. Interface loopback 0. My bad. IP address is 1.0.0.2. Subnet mask /32. And then what was the other thing that was missing? The router 1 was not. Oh, FA20 was not. He's not participating in EIGRP. Who's participating in EIGRP? 00 and 10. Ah. Well, who was supposed to be? 00, 10. What was the neighbors though? Let's see. Show IPv6. No, let's do this. Show CP neighbors 00 and 10. That's what I thought I did it in. Let's see. Show run interface FA0/0. That's in EIGRP. 0. 10. 1/0. That's participating in it as well. What are we missing? 20? You said it was 20? I can't remember. I put it also in 20. So maybe we needed to take it out of 10. That was the extra command. We didn't have to have it there. That's what it is. We put it in the extra. Whenever you put, so it's in blue right here, that means you didn't have to put it there. So it was an extra command, and apparently they grade it wrong when you do that. So let's remove it, and then we'll call it a night. Y'all make sure, again, y'all hit me with the like button on your way out. Hit me with the subscribe button. Make sure you join the Discord server. There's a link at the top of the chat, and I will let you guys know next time I stream. I typically stream Monday through Thursday, 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It depends on how my day go and shiz like that, and how things are for me at work. Go to global config mode, interface FA2/0. I believe you know what it is. 20 is this interface right here. So we did not have to put IPv6 on that interface. Why? Because that is not part of site 1. So that's what it was. But I thought I removed it. No, IPv6, EIGRP 600, and that's what they wanted. Grade lab, and then now we got the you have completed this lab successfully. They don't want any extra commands. But anyways, y'all hit that like button and on the way out. Subscribe to your boy. That's pretty much it, man. Thank you for watching the network. Bruh.